Hey all, Russ here, RVerTV, welcome. Check it out. We're on US 101, trucking north. We're going to stop up here at Winchester Bay, check out a lighthouse, see a little scenic views. There's all kinds of sand dunes. And I think the museum and the lighthouse will be open. Yay. Okay, I need to be making a left up here pretty quick. Little overcast, not bad. Temps are in the high 60s, probably hit 70 as soon as the sun pops out. Alright, let's go find that lighthouse. There's campgrounds down in here, day use. Almost missed my turn. I was here about, a few years ago. And nothing was open then. Wind down this hill. Here's the campground, I believe, down here. Ocean's right on the other side of these trees. You just can't see it yet. Looks like they got trails you can take out there. But that lighthouse should be, wait for it, right there. It's the Umpqua Lighthouse. I hope I pronounced that correct. There's a museum. According to the phone, everything should be open. We're gonna find out. And there's the sand dunes and your mighty Pacific Ocean. Let's take a walk. This is an active United States Coast Guard residential area, I believe. And the lighthouse still works. The original one was built in 1857. Wow. Then they had to replace it. 65 feet high. Original cost $50,000. Not anymore, huh? And if you want to do some whale watching, this is the place to do it. You definitely need binoculars. They got little telescope things. Welcome to the Umpqua River Whale Watching Station. Heck yeah. And here's a map where we are. Winchester Bay, Salmon Harbor. There's a big jetty out there. Protects the harbor right along this beautiful Oregon coast. Umpqua River Lighthouse Whale Watching Station and Viewpoint volunteers keep it up here, which is cool. Well, there's a museum, gift shop here. We'll take a little walk. The sign on the fence said tours available. Maybe we can get inside that thing. Not a real big one, is it? Some of these lighthouses go way up. Of course, it's way up on this cliff up here. Those beams of light can shoot out there miles. Okay, what do you say? Let's see if we can't get inside. See that blue sign says daily tours. Feels good to be out of that van. Oof. A lot of miles. And there it is. All this was probably, I'm guessing, Coast Guard buildings. Open tours daily, yeah. Well, let me go inside, figure it out, see what they want to get inside that lighthouse. They're guided. You have no choice. You can't just go in it. But while we're waiting, we're gonna go check out this museum. This is the old Coast Guard buildings for years and years, but now it's a museum on the inside. Big old map there. Alright. Here we go. I got my ticket. We're good. Wow. This is going to be cool. Anything and everything about being a life on the Coast Guard on the Pacific Ocean. Powerful storms hit. I bet this building alone has stood the test of time. This was actually a fort, 1856 to 1862. They even got old pictures of it back then. Wow, this is cool. Okay, that must have been the original one, huh? Because it don't look like that now. You got the old blueprints. No ship in a bottle, we got a ship in a box. Well, but wait, there's more. Alright, there it is. This building was active 1939 to 68. There's an upstairs to this thing too. Wow, this is very, very well done. I wasn't expecting this. A lot of this stuff looks pretty new. Saving lives. There's our bell. All museums have a bell. There's your ship wheel. Always like these old black and white photos showing the faces of who was here before us. Lives and history and families. All lined up, get their picture taken. You know, getting a picture taken back then was a big, big deal. Cool. Nice painting there. Horses right on the beach. Another ship in a box. And info of the guy that invented the crystals, the light. You see that in almost every museum. I remember seeing in other museums the cost of the lens is huge, even way back then. Real big money. More about the lighthouse. Lighthouse keepers, where they lived with families. There's your uniform, the pocket watch. Because you don't get clear days here all the time. You get fog. All kinds of stuff. Plus, they used to have to watch the beaches, I think, visually. Family affair, yeah, there's the kids growing up here. What a life, huh? Now it's no more. They turn buildings into museums. There's old George Washington. Shipwrecks. But they've seen a few. Another lens. I could see where it cost a lot of money. Something like that. Alright, well, what do you say? We'll head upstairs, see what they got. Ooh, I didn't see this picture. Just shipwreck. Horse-drawn wagon there down on a shipwreck. That's Coos Bay. Crew quarters. This is where they stayed for a lot of years. They could look right out these same windows. What a view, huh? Probably looked different back then, though. They probably didn't have trailers and stuff. Yeah, can you imagine being asleep in bed and all of a sudden you get the call, shipwreck, everybody up, time to go save lives. What do we got in here? Looks like more living quarters, uniforms, articles about the Coast Guard. That bed doesn't look too comfortable, does it? Wow, there's a powerful picture. What else we got? Well, there's our... Oh boy. There's your toilet. Here's the briefing room. Making the plans. Imagine all the discussions that happen in here. Still cool that you can look out the same windows that they did back in the day. A lot of years ago. Because what was it, 39 to 68, so even during World War II, this is an active Coast Guard station. All the sails on their old boats. Pretty impressive. All their uniforms. There you go. Tie your ship knot. All the different kinds. Alright, well, it's getting close. Supposed to meet downstairs, take the guided tour. Really impressive museum. Highly recommend this if you get out this way.
And built all this till 1968. Then they moved down to Salmon Harbor, which is just the next little area, like, a 2-minute drive down there,
Yeah.
Winchester Bay. That's where they are still now. They still house the families here. There's the Coast Guard. It was the U.S. Life Saving Services. And they had a boathouse down by the river where Pacific was crashing in, into the river, emptying. They had a boathouse and a 9-man crew down there, stationed down there to help with any ships in distress, people that needed saving. And they used boats, of course. In 1924, they started building these. They used these up and down the Pacific. It got lit December 31st, 1894. Now, they got a little bit smarter with this one. They set it back and up. We're 100 feet above sea level right here. That tower is 65 feet tall. So that's shooting light out 165 feet out and can go 20 to 21 miles.
Yeah, I bet.
Back in the day, that's where the shipping lanes were. Now with GPS, they can go out farther. But
Oh my goodness. Look
so
at
this is the workroom. They didn't live in here. They just did all their work here. This is a good sample of what the ground looked like. Okay. There's a picture, an actual photograph of it over there from a different viewpoint, but the house that the lighthouse keeper lived in with his family is not here anymore. In 39, the Coast Guard unfortunately tore it down. But it was the house they lived in, the lighthouse, storage shed where they kept all the kerosene and supplies, and then the water tower, and that was it. No roads out of here, no neighbors, no nothing. You were out here on your own.
They had their own water tower too, huh?
Yeah, they did, luckily. So to be a lighthouse keeper, you had to be totally self-sufficient. You had to be physically in good shape. It was a very strenuous job. And you had to have a family, because what if something, and it happened here, you go out, you help the life-saving services with a rescue, and you don't make it, you drown trying to save people. Well, but yeah, that's their outfit that they wore when they had to do all that cleaning all the time, because the kerosene would deposit soot on those beautiful lenses up there. Numerous times a day they were up polishing. They wore these protectors in bricks. And how did they get all those bricks up there back in the day? No heavy equipment, right? Yeah, they used their own, they created their own pulley system. So they rigged all this up. The horses would pull the pallets of bricks up to them, and that's how they did it. Yeah, interesting.
Pretty cool.
So you'll notice in here, and what did they get? Oh, I want to tell you what the salary was for the head lighthouse keeper, $800 a year. Up until the 1920s, that was not 141,000 bricks white. What they found out though, not a good idea, because the paint would not allow these delicate bricks to breathe. So the condensation would get between and start deteriorating the brick. So they had to sand that shoots a light straight out. And then there's the rotating lens, which is what this is. It goes round and round. So before electricity, what kept that wheel mechanism going around? Think of a grandfather clock. They used the weight and pendulum system. Okay, so what they did, 200 pounds of weight was attached by cables all the way up to that wheel. And as this dropped, that wheel would turn. It would keep it turning slowly, 37 feet every 70 minutes. And then this guy, this poor old guy, would have to run upstairs, 58 stairs, right?
Yeah.
And rewind all the cables so it could start coming down again. But that's what kept that wheel turning.
That's funny.
Yeah, no wonder they only lasted a year. You probably should have retired a long time ago. Yeah, that was tough.
Probably pretty strong in that one arm, though.
So back before electricity too, it was kerosene that kept the lights on. And I'll explain that as we get upstairs. But they had to lug up, and in the museum it shows this big branch would damage the brick. So they made these freestanding, they're made of iron, they're attached to each other and to the landings, but not to the wall. Well, even after I'm doing this day after day, you'd think I'd be a little more in shape by now.
Well,
No such luck. So in 1894, when this was lit, okay, before electricity, how did they had a light in the middle with the lens surrounding it going round and round. What kind of light did they use? It was generated from kerosene. They use these kerosene lamps. It's a 5-wick burner. You put the kerosene in here, you light the wick, and you just keep these trimmed all the time. It was constant. And it worked. But unfortunately, it only created 200 candle power of brightness. We don't use that unit of measurement anymore, obviously. Another 10 times, 210,000 candle power. And you can imagine how it made their life so much easier. No more bringing up kerosene, no more soot to clean. All this cables up, no more rewinding every 70 minutes. So they were probably overjoyed. And it created a brighter light. Now, since 2012 and currently, we use the halogen light. It's a 1,000-watt bulb, and it creates 2.7 million candle power. That's how much brighter that is. There's 2 bulbs up there at all times. You'll see when we get up to the lens room. In case one burns out, the other one automatically is the battery. Turning. All right, it takes a full 2 minutes to go around. And what the unique and beautiful part about this lighthouse, why it is so rare. First of all, it's a working lighthouse. Many of them aren't being decommissioned. It's got the valuable Fresnel lens, first order lens, very rare. Even more rare is the red and white lens, okay? And they allow you to go all the way up and tour. Now, if you like, you can step up using that yellow step. You can come all the way up to here with your feet. But hold on because you can get dizzy looking up and don't look directly at the light because it's very bright. Isn't it beautiful?
Oh, wow.
It's awesome. And how they made that red glass, they put gold flecks into the red molten glass to make it that bright, beautiful color. Very expensive at the time. These are all hand cut, 616 pieces. They were put together in a brass frame. And again, it's very rare. Priceless. They don't make them anymore. You can't get them anymore. And very few lighthouses were able to afford gold, red, and white. So this is, and it's actually working. It's incredible.
Yeah. How old is this?
This was lit on December 31st, 1894.
With the same glass?
This is the original glass.
Wow.
Isn't it beautiful?
Gorgeous. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. This one is white, white, red, 4 seconds. White, white, red, 4 seconds. And when the ships were out at sea, they had this chart.
Look at that picture.
Isn't that awesome? I know, it is so beautiful.
It looks like China. I mean, something, not China.
Yeah,
Like
it's stained glass.
stained glass.
Isn't that gorgeous? Let me show you this, what it looks like at night. So my husband and I, when we're walking the dog, we needed saving. It runs 24/7 now because everything's automated and, the motor runs everything. But back in the day, it only ran at night, so they had to draw curtains. So when the sun was shining through one prism too long, it could magnify that light so much that it could start brush fires out there. So they had to draw the curtains.
Really?
I think it's in California, down in California, that you can actually stay for the night.
Well, that is probably the best look I've ever had at a lighthouse. The 2-color lens, she said, was priceless. The red and the clear or white. What a great tour. That woman was just full of information. Super neat lady. Highly, highly, highly recommend stopping up here if you're coming up to 101. It's not that far off the main road. Between the museum, the lighthouse tour, all that. And straight down here, we're going to go past it. There's RV parks and campgrounds, whatnot. That was cool. Well, she said Coast Guard stationed down here somewhere. Bunch of RVs. Looks like they got hookups. And here's Winchester Bay. What'd that sign say? Salmon River, wasn't it? Oh, can you imagine salmon fishing here? Wow. Yeah, get the fishing pole out. Catch some salmon. Smoked salmon, that's good, huh? Looks like a good place to fish. See a couple RVs out there. If I remember right, up here is the big RV parks marina. ATVs. Well, you got the sand dunes back there too. Just remembered that. Yeah, I'm pretty stoked and happy about that Lighthouse tour. It was $8 for the whole thing between the museum and the lighthouse. Okay, here's the campgrounds. They're huge. But nice and cool. You want to beat the heat? Come here to Winchester Bay. What's this here? Let's take a stop. Check this. Jack Unger Memorial Wayside. Dedicated men and women from this port who have lost their lives at sea. Look at all the names. Wow. Jack Unger. Just a different world and way of life. What do we have here? Douglas County Parks. Okay, these are all county parks in here. You got boating, fishing, camping. Big map of the area. Huge, isn't it? With the sand dunes. So this is almost like a recreation wonder. And you got the ocean. ATV rental, so you can rent an RV. See, you don't have to have an RV. Stay in a motel, rent an RV, rent an ATV. Just do all this in a car. I get asked that a lot. What if we don't have an RV? You can still get out here and enjoy it. There's a bicycle repair station. They think of everything here, huh? All the tools. I've never seen anything like that. That's cool. Even got compressed air for a tire. What's this here? Tsunami evacuation map. Very important. Means run for the hills. Big old earthquake. Here comes the waves. Well, cool. I am so glad I stopped here. I was debating on which lighthouses to stop at. And that one I didn't know, but sure I'm glad I did. There's our marina. Well, head back out for the 101 right up the road here. Be fun to take one of the charters out, especially out of here. You probably go out and fish, especially during salmon season. That'd be cool. Whale watching. For more information on my travels, be sure to check out my website, RVerTV.tv. Sign up for free newsletter. Check out the merch shop, hats, t-shirts, coffee mugs, all that cool stuff. Once again, that's RVerTV.tv, and I appreciate it very much. Alrighty, well, I'm just gonna keep doing a few miles, gonna get up the coast a little farther. There's a town up farther called Florence. Once we get on the other side of that, there is a huge lighthouse. We're gonna stop. That'll be next video. Journey continues. Talk soon.